Yeah, I knew Joni to say hello. I mean, we were, we met several times. Obviously we were there at the same times with overlap. Um, I never had any kind of, I never worked with her. I never had any real close interaction with her, but every time I ever met her, she always struck me as being a genuinely nice person. Um, there are some people in our business that believe that they've hit the apex of the business or on the top of the card, and so they get an attitude that goes along with that, as if there's nothing else they can learn. They're better than you or above you, whatever. I never got that from Joni. She always had a smile on her face, even when she was intense. And she was an intense person, from what I could see in those times that I met her. As she was preparing, you could tell that she was, going over it in her head, like she was, running it through. She seemed to me, again, in those handful of times that I met her and interacted with her, to be somebody that genuinely cared about her craft and learning her craft. And she always was a very personable person. She was never an asshole around me. And I never heard stories of her doing that. So, look, when you've been in the business as long as I've been in the business, and you've seen the sheer number of people leave this planet way, way before their time. And, I could already hear failure. Yeah, but she this and she that. Okay. He is without sin, be the first to cast the first stone. I certainly have no room to cast that first stone. But it's, to me, it's a bittersweet aspect to it, because let's face it, Chyna had a huge impact on the business. First woman working with men in men's division, really preceding a lot of what we're seeing today. I just saw something online today of some young lady that just signed a letter of intent to play college football for for a male team, which is incredible. That it really is just jaw dropping when you fathom that, and you look back and realize that Joni was doing that, working in a man's world, literally, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and doing it in a way that she left an impact. She wasn't just some lady they put out there and, was given it. She made an impact. She put an imprint and a stamp on the WWE product at that time. And so she certainly deserves, in my book, to be in the Hall of Fame. It's just bittersweet to me that she's not here to be able to enjoy it. That's, to me, one of those things that, I know Bruno's differences with WWE, and they ran deep. And, had a lot of legitimate aspect to them. But in the end, when he finally consigned to being inducted, consigned himself to being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I don't want to put words in Bruno's mouth. He never told me this, but it seems to me that the living legend knew he was getting older. And, you start getting into your 80s, if you make it to your 80s, there's no real guarantee you're going to even be here tomorrow. And I think that Bruno wanted to be able to enjoy part of that. And I'm so thankful that Bruno did get to enjoy that spotlight. And, he certainly earned it and certainly was due that. But when somebody like Joni comes around, somebody that I, in my book, left way, way too early, and punching the clock, and that she's not here to be able to enjoy that, to soak up, some of that love from the fans that I'm sure that, will be there when she's inducted, but certainly deserved, and just sad to see that she's not here to be able to enjoy it.
For years, even Triple H has said it. Oh, she'll never go in the Hall of Fame because if you Google her, you'll see her drug past, that she was in adult films, her reality TV past where she was, acting a little bit shady. So it's just funny that, things like that change. But it's weird that he kind of went on the, the offensive, so to speak, or maybe the defensive when making those remarks, because the only real reason him and Stephanie are together is because he cheated on Chyna with Stephanie, and then they ended up together. So isn't that kind of a little interesting little web we're weaving here with Chyna and the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, again, it's one of those things with, where are you willing to stand behind everything you've ever said? And, I find that interesting. And again, this is just my outsider's view of the company, obviously. But, how many of their women wrestlers have been in Playboy, on the front cover of Playboy? How many of them have done, again, I'm not casting any stones at anybody. I'm just, if you're going to sit there and say, well, you're never going to be in the Hall of Fame because, and fill in the blank, with a company that we've seen an 85-year-old woman having an abortion, some pretty damn shady shit. And, it's hardly like we're all attending Cambridge and we're all looking down at you peons that go to community college because we go to Cambridge. This is the WWE. It's hardly the highbrow taste. And to sit there and make the comment that somebody else did something that you either agree or disagree with, and that somehow precludes them or exempts them from being in the Hall of Fame. And let's face it, if you play in the NFL and you've thrown for 50,000 yards and won 2, 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls, I don't think the NFL is going to say, hey, you know what? You did the cover of that magazine and you didn't have any, you were naked. Or you were in that movie and it was sort of tasteless. Come on. This is 2019. I don't know if everybody's paid attention, but it seems like morality seems to be a thing that's pretty far out the window. To try to make those sweeping judgments, it's just comical to me. But, again, we know that he's in a position of authority there. The fact that she is going in, clearly he must have had a hand in that. So, kudos to him that he was able to put whatever heat there was between them behind him. Because, again, this it's not a popularity contest. It's not like, hey, you sold more albums and so you get to go in because of that, or you sold less and so you don't. This is, to me, the Hall of Fame in any industry, in any sport, should be based around the fact of, were you an impact player? Were you the type of player that set some kind of records, whether it's winning the Super Bowl if you're in football, a title in wrestling, attendance, buy rates on pay-per-views, things like that. If you're somebody that's had an impact in our industry, then and done so for a long period of time, and then like in Joni's case, again, get back to the history aspect of it, having done something that nobody had ever done prior to that, and a woman stepping into a man's world, testosterone-laden world, right? Did it and did it successfully. I would call that somebody who's made an impact on the industry. So, this is not something she's being given. She's earned this. And again, it saddens me that she's not here for anybody, that anybody would get the opportunity to get into the Hall of Fame, that they'd be given the opportunity to be able to enjoy that trip. And sadly, we see far too many that are inducted posthumously.